And good evening and welcome. I did that like a proper news thing then. And good evening and welcome to. Good evening, everyone. And again. But there we go. Welcome back to the next week's episode, or the new week's episode of No Crits Given, with me, Joe, and my ever faithful extra host, Ben.
Hi, how you doing?
Can't do it all on my own, unfortunately.
No. We've tried.
Yeah.
we have tried.
It gets very lonely. But welcome back. Thank you for tuning in for the second episode. The plan for today is that we are going to look at 5 ways in which we can improve the D&D experience, your own D&D experience, and maybe we'll say something out loud and realise something ourselves, in which you can improve your D&D experience without breaking the bank.
Yeah. So these are like, we had a bit of a sit down and a chat the other day. These are 5 ways that we sort of think, 5 things or 5 resources, 5 ways that we enhanced our game and our campaigns, whether whoever's DMing, when we do our games, without spending loads of money, worrying about cost of anything, worrying about dedicated space, just things that we have done, we use to make our games better, and the things that we will swear by on here. And I think there's some things on here we will use forever, because they're just the value for money on these things is incredible. We tried to do a list where they were all free.
Yeah.
Or they were all free. Unfortunately, 1 or 2 of these we had to put a mention into them. There'll be things that people have heard of and that people use, but we're just going to say how we use them and how we think they improve our game.
Yeah, and I think it's like with any hobby, we as hobbyists get into things, as me and you have shared quite a few different hobbies in the past, and I know when I get into something, my brain will immediately give me the whole, I need that, and I need this, and I need that. Yeah, but Joe, you're never going to use that thing for like maybe another couple of years. No, but I need it. And fall into that trap of needing everything as soon as I get into a hobby. And, we're not Jeff Bezos. Me and you aren't ploughing around with...
Not quite yet, no.
With wallets full of money. So being able to sort of, as someone who tends to charge into hobbies, like a red rag to a bull and try and buy everything, being able to sit down and look at how we've brought our experience to a really good level of enjoyment for us as a play group without spending too much money has been great, even for me. Yeah. Just shows it's possible.
I think one of the things it's easy to do with any hobby, whether that's games, sport, anything, is to think, and in order for it to be as good as it can be, I need to spend lots of money. I need to get the X, Y, and Z. I need to make sure that my setup is exactly the same as what's on this YouTube channel. Oh, that's the best way to play. But what we're going to try and do, what we want to do today, is just explain that it doesn't have to be like that. There are ways and means and things that you're out there that you can use to enhance your gameplay, whether you're a player, a GM, or even just a fan, or even just want to chat about things. And we think these 5 things are the key things people can use to achieve that.
I'm going to let you start off with what we've got on our list for number 1, because this is like almost, this was your baby when it was discovered. This was something great.
Just before we jump in, I just want to explain. This is a completely different room as to what we're using. We have spent so many hours looking at rooms and setups and how can we manage. For those of you that don't know, this week in the UK, it is incredibly hard. It is. We mentioned the hot weather last week. It is doubled in temperature. It is unbearably hot.
And us Brits struggle.
Oh,
at a certain point, anything after probably 20 degrees, we start to struggle.
And we're nearing double that tomorrow. Yeah. So we discussed the idea of missing a week, but we thought no, we will find a setup. So we'll have to forgive us on our little bit bare bones setup tonight. Yeah. The screen has disappeared. The sound might be a little bit off, but we wanted to plough on and give you the podcast that we promised you. Right, number 1. A little bit of backstory. I am one of these people, like I mentioned last week, that got into Dungeons and Dragons through listening and originally listening to channels like Critical Role and Dimension 20, and then transitioned into watching mainly Dimension 20. It's not a knock on Critical Role. I just like Dimension 20. And as I said at the beginning, well, if you're playing D&D, you have to have the minis.
Yeah.
Minis and scenery and setup are fantastic. I have seen people play with them. We have been in games clubs when we used to play Magic the Gathering where their D&D setup was nearby and it looked incredible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, It's both really, really expensive and really, really time consuming. Anybody who's watching who knows me personally will know I've not got a... I don't want to say I've not got an attention to detail, I've not, but painting minis isn't for me. I've not got the patience or the steady hand to sit painting minis, building set designs, just to use it once and then put it into the cupboard to forget it, and hopefully maybe you'll do a scene in a castle one day again, you can get it back out. Also through watching Dimension 20, I was watching the amazing, amazing series, I did watch Escapes of the Blood Keep, but that's not the one I was on about. Starstruck Odyssey, where they used Tailspire. Tailspire is, in my opinion, fantastic. It's technically still in early access, so it's got its limitations, but it is amazing. Tailspire is a fully... How do I describe this? How did I sell it to the playgroup? It is a fully 3D rendered tabletop.
Yeah.
So you can build, create, download, play in whatever you can think of. Any terrain, any setup, any scene, anything. You can play. You can pull it up on screen. Have the DM control the characters. Have people log in if they've got their own copies of it, and control the characters. Take the turns, and it's just a very easy way to have that minis and scenery experience without spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds. It's £20. I double checked earlier on to make sure I wasn't mis-selling it. It's £20 on the Steam workshops, on the Steam store, and it is fantastic. I think it's brilliant.
It is really, really good. And I remember as a player, as we got the play group going, and I remember Ben saying to me, I found this really amazing program called Tailspire, and we should use it in the campaigns. And I remember thinking, yeah, but is it though? Is it going to be the same watching the DM drag miniatures across the screen and it all be digital? And I'll eat my words, if I had a hat I'd take it off and eat it. Being able to, in any experience, just watch something physically move and interact in front of you. I remember when we, in our most recent campaign, we started a side quest, we'd got to a certain point, and the DM all of a sudden on the screen just dropped a dragon miniature, and was like, right, here we go. And just seeing that, even though it was 3D and animated on a TV screen, it still gave me that, okay, here we go, this is that moment.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's probably... Is it? I was going to say I'm not going to say it's better than minis, because I think if you had the money and a bit of patience to build, nothing beats having the minis on the table. And of course you don't need any of this. Theory of the imagination, theory of the mind is perfect. In fact, we've done both. We've done sessions where we have used just theory of the mind. But I had the same preconceptions. I was like, well, is it a bit video gamey?
Yeah.
If you're going to play like that, you may as well... I actually said to me, you may as well play something like Dragon Age, something like The Witcher, or something like
isometric, almost like a Divinity or something.
Or
like
even something a bit multiplayer. The word one, I've gone blank. What was that Ubisoft one where he plays the Viking or the Samurai? It's PvP.
For Honor.
Because you can play that with mates. Something like that. I thought, is it going to be a bit too much, too video gamey? Well, Dimension 20 sold it to me. Their use of it was fantastic. I bought it anyway because I thought if we don't use it in this play group, at some point it will come in handy. Yeah. It's just so versatile. Like I say, we use it like we have one copy. It just doubles down on the money thing. we sit in the game room where we play. The DM brings it up. We've got a big screen on the wall. The DM brings it up, and we control where we want to go and everything like that. But it's a really, really easy to use visual and a really good way of using it. Like I said earlier, if you've got 6 of you and you've all got a laptop and you've all got a laptop that can run it and you all want to buy it, then you can sit around the table in the same way that Roll20 does, where you take it in turns. You each control your own mini. It's so versatile in the way that it's used that I think it enhances any game.
No, it does massively. And going back to my previous point, there's just something about it. It gives the game itself an extra layer. I remember. I think we did. Am I right in thinking we did like session 0 and maybe session 1 without it?
Yeah, we did.
And then we did it about the second session. We brought Tailspire in, and ever since, I think if we now went back and played that campaign without it, I'd feel like I was missing something. Yeah. My character is there, conceptualised on the screen, and that's me now.
You also get that idea of, see, Bran, who I mentioned last week, I've had a very clear picture of him in my head. Well, I could describe him, and he might not come over exactly in your head the same way. But now, not only do our characters look how we want them to look, but everybody can see them the way that we want. And I think it's brilliant. I could talk about Tales all night. I think it's fantastic. The amount of times like you guys have gone home, like, spoiler alert, we play at mine, the game room's at mine, and I will sit for hours just, if you follow our Instagram, getting angles, getting shots from the game and recapturing it and going look, and then sharing the group with the lads, going, this is what we did tonight, and people go, oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
It is, and I think it leads on quite nicely with topic number 2.
It does,
because I don't think our play experience of Talespire would be what it would be without Hero Forge.
Yes,
and again, you can probably tell that I'm not the brains of the operation. But
I don't think that's a fair
Talespire and Hero Forge again Hero Forge was almost your discovery.
Yeah, it sort of came, and I don't want to just say the same story word for word, but again, Dimension 20 were using it, and I'm such a big fan of Dimension 20. You'll learn that very quickly that I'm a big fan of Dimension 20. Dimension 20 were using it, and a couple of episodes in, I noticed that these must have custom miniatures. Now I know they had the custom miniatures for the physical stuff, and I've just had a random thought one night while I was on Talespire going, I wonder if it's the same company, because I knew that Hero Forge is an amazing service in general, where you can design and print and have sent painted, unpainted, even 3D printing files, your own minis, but wondered if they did the digital copy. Yeah. And not only did they do the digital copy, it also links directly into Talespire. So with a click of the mouse, our Talespire characters, our Hero Forge characters are in Talespire. And it's just doubling down on what we said about Talespire. It adds that customization, that individuality, that way of bringing your characters to life.
It does, and I think if we look at not trying to marry it up or make one seem better than the other, but if we revert back to our original point of this isn't going to break the bank, you could get physical minis, and if you really want to delve deep into making these minis and bringing them out in the way you envisage them, that's going to cost you quite a bit of money. Yeah, to make sure they've got the right arm, the right leg. For example, my character that I'm playing, D, with an E, is De. He's got a metal arm. His right arm is made out of metal. Now, for me to make that as a physical mini
would be incredible.
But it might be But it might be either, like say, time consuming or making sure I've got the right aesthetic on the arm. I might be fiddling around trying to find the right piece for a long time. Might be even cost me a little bit extra. In Hero Forge, I have an array of things that I need, from high fantasy to sci-fi, modern day, and I can swap and choose in between what I wanted, and I made him the way I wanted him. I needed a metal arm, and I just thought, let's have a look in the sci-fi bit, and there's a beautiful metal arm there.
Almost custom made, almost poetry, wasn't it? It's brilliant. And just to double down on what we're saying about the money, we did some rudimentary maths when I first mentioned it. We, as a group, we pay Hero Forge to design your characters is completely free. Yeah. You can go on, create a free account, and you can design as many characters as you want. And then you can buy them individually in physical form, fully painted, digital. A digital download to use in a program like Talespire costs you £8.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. We then realised that there was a subscription service. This was many an hour of chatting in the group chat, trying to get all the guys on board. So as a group, we pay £20 a month to Hero Forge, which allows us to make 5 custom characters, which, quick maths, would be 40 quid. And you also get a pack of 5 pre-made characters, which is themed and designed by Hero Forge, on top each month.
Yeah.
By my money, that's 80 quid of characters.
Yeah.
Which you can use forever. They are yours as soon as you are downloaded and purchased. £80 of value for £20 a month. And when you play D&D as much as we do, as much as you guys at home do, as much as anybody does, having that sort of value to product ratio is fantastic.
It is amazing. I know when we've discovered the subscription side of it, and like you say, just doing the maths on actually what you get for your money is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it was perfectly enough for us as a play group to get everyone a mini, to get everyone to conceptualise their character. And, you know, there's guys, I think we touched on it briefly last week, but there are guys now who are really, really attached to that mini that is on the screen. You know, these guys who, a couple of them never played D&D before, you know, we're all quite new, but we're all learning as we go, and these guys are now sat for 20-30 minutes really thinking about their characters, and they being able to see them on screen has helped them massively with that.
100%. Like, because where we play, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, is at the game room, and our sort of setup is permanently set up at the place where I live. A lot of the guys, well, one specific guy, I'm not going to mention names again, he was very, very picky, not picky in a bad way, very detail heavy on how he wanted his character to look, but couldn't get to do it because it needed to be on the account that we've got set up on the main computer and the main screen that we've got in the game room. So the 3 hours I spent on Facebook Messenger tweaking his character, sending a screenshot, or can you just change this colour? It sounds horrible, the wrong shade of blue, but it was almost as good as actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Because together we created this character, and like myself, like Bran, who I play, has had input from yourself, from one of the other lads, from the DM, so that then came through on the screen as well. So not only are these characters how we wanted them to be, they're sort of collaborations from the group.
Yeah.
And then to have not a physical thing, but a visual thing, you can go, look, this is what we created together. And especially for Rayeth.
Yes.
He was so... I remember he'd seen it. We'd been working on it via messages one night, and then we came together on the Friday to play, and we our DM dropped it onto the map and made a comment, and you could just see the satisfaction and the joy in this on the lad's face when he goes, yeah, that is exactly how that's how I envisioned it, and we came up with that together.
So both of these programs, applications in tandem, they work fantastically well.
Brilliant.
You know, I'm not going to profess to be some quick maths genius, but you know what we get from Tailspire and Hero Forge.
Well, if you think with Tailspire, there is a very popular website as well. Probably should have mentioned this when we were talking specifically about Tailspire, called Tails Tavern, where with a click of a button you can download a creation that somebody's made. This might be somebody that has spent hours creating every map for Icespire Peak, creating every map for the Lost Mine of Phandalin. Phandalin? I can never pronounce that word.
Phandalin? We'll get there.
Or it could be somebody that spent hours and hours and hours creating a world that they've thought up in their head, and they put it out there, and the amount of people that go on and download it and go, because I'm in some groups for it, for the tech side of it, that go, oh, I've created this mansion, and then it's got 4,000 downloads, and people are using it in their campaigns. It's all over YouTube. That is incredible. In terms of value, you've paid £20 to Steam. You've got this account, and then there is an infinite number of boards, number of creations. It is slightly limited in terms of the scenery and the themes it's got there. There's not a lot of sci-fi stuff on it, but it's being constantly added to.
No, definitely.
And the community have found ways to create stuff. Some of the stuff you go on Tails Tavern, you think, how have they created that? And it's amazing. In terms of value, Tailspire is off the charts. Yeah, and
with both of them linked together and the way they work, you know, we're looking at, let's say Tailspire is a one-off purchase, and the Hero Forge the subscription we use, you know, we pay monthly, as we said. Really, once you've purchased Tailspire, we could say that we're running a really enjoyable campaign for £20 a month off what we see on a screen.
Yeah.
And it's not having to break the bank. It's not having to worry about actual minis. Maybe somebody has to look after them. All the dangers, maybe of them getting broke or anything like that.
Especially with kids, obviously we play. There's kids about. You've paid 40 quid for this mini and it's perfect, and some. Quite rightly, the boys would think the toys. Because 100%. The people think that. And the other thing about subscription is that you're not tied into a contract.
No.
You can come out at any time. You can pay the £20, get your £80 of value off the first month, and then leave it. If your campaign is going to go on for the next 3 years and you just want the one mini, but for each of you, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
absolutely fantastic.
Really, really good. And you know, linking back to what I said earlier on about me being a bit of a red rag to a bull in purchasing everything, when I enjoy a hobby. To add a bit of context, I remember the first or second time I went paintballing and decided I wanted to become a professional paintballer, and at the time had more money than sense and spent about £300 on all of this paintball kit.
I mean, we both went heavy into Magic the Gathering.
And Magic the Gathering,
so
yeah.
It was
definitely,
I've got decks that I daren't admit to the wife how much they cost to make. Over time, it was a timely investment. It wasn't £700.
I remember. I think I conned myself into thinking if I purchased them as singles to make up a commander deck, it was cheaper. Yeah. But that was my excuse.
Yeah.
However, that's the way I've been, and that's the way probably I'll always be. Getting headlong into something, I'm going to wear it on my sleeve. Yeah. And really get into it.
Go big or go home. Exactly. I don't tend to get into things unless I want to really get into things, but not everything you can do on a budget, which is luckily what D&D is.
Exactly.
You can do it really well.
And hello there. You've caught me by the fire, regaling myself with stories of adventurers past through the annals of D&D and some of the creatures that our adventurers face on a daily basis. And I would like to invite you to hear a reading of one of my favourite creatures, a creature that you may face in your coming days. Clinging to the ceilings of caverns and large subterranean passages, piercers blend in perfectly with natural rock, dropping in silence to impale unsuspecting foes on the ground. A piercer is the larval form of a roper, and the two creatures often attack in tandem. A rock-like shell encases the piercer's body, giving it the look and texture of a stalactite. The shell protects a soft, slug-like upper body that lets the piercer move across the cavern walls and ceilings to position itself ready for its prey. With its eye and mouth closed, the piercer is difficult to distinguish from ordinary rock formations. Piercers are patient hunters, and piercers can see, but they can also respond to noise and heat, waiting for living creatures to pass beneath them, then falling to attack. A piercer that misses its chance to kill must make its slow way back to the ceiling. A fallen piercer excretes a foul-smelling slime when attacked, making most predators think twice about eating it. Piercers gather in colonies to maximize their effectiveness of their attacks, dropping simultaneously to increase the odds of striking at their prey. After a piercer successfully slays a creature, the others slowly creep toward the corpse to join in the feast. Now, they are a magnificent creature. However, it comes as a tale of warning. Piercers, although small, may not seem like they represent much of a challenge. However, they do. And should you be unlucky enough to step under one, then it may be the end of your adventure. Thank you for joining me, and I wish to see you again with me around the fire sometime soon. Good evening. The next point we wanted to raise, I think might be quite contradictory to myself, as considering they're here in front of me.
Yes.
But is when it comes to D&D, there is a plethora of books available. Whether it be something like the Dungeon Master's Guide, whether it be something like the Monster Manual, which we've got over there. Really important thing that we would like to try and remember is just buy what you need. Yeah. You know, don't do a me and think, right, I need every single book that's going for every campaign and every different spin-off. Mm-hmm. Just think about what you need. Maybe you're a brand new group of players and you need a DM who just needs a little bit of something to keep them going. Mm-hmm. Dungeon Master's Guide, and then
Player's Handbook's quite handy.
Player's Handbook.
I think the other thing to remember on top of that as well is if you've got a group of DM and 5 of us, there's 6 of us in our group. You don't need one each. We don't need a Player's Handbook each. I think we'd all like one. I think I mean, you can see them. They look amazing. They look pretty. And these aren't even the special art, special covers. They're incredible. But you don't need one. You just need, if you're running, say, I can't remember what's up, Curse of Strahd. You just need a copy of Curse of Strahd. You don't need one each, which I think is another thing that people tend to get get wrapped up in. You don't need every book. It would be nice. There are loads of legitimate websites out there where you can find the information you want. You can find the things you want. So you don't need to, like Joe said, you don't need to get it all. You might want to get it all. You might get it all. You don't need to get it all at once. There's no point having a copy of the Tiamat. I can't remember the Tiamat book off the top of my head. There's no point having a copy of that if you're running Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
Like, that's fantastic. There's no point having a copy of Xanathar's Guide to Everything if nobody's playing a class out of it. It's nice and it adds to your experience, but it's money that could be spent on stuff that you do need. Not to go back and plug Tailspire and Hero Forge more, but maybe there's an issue where we always run out of snacks. We all like having the snacks, but we spent all the money on 4 books we're not going to use. Well, that could have gone in to get the beers, could have gone in to get the snacks, could have gone in to get the setup. We want this book, battle maps. So a book of battle maps is far more important in my eyes than a book of a campaign you're not going to run. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, definitely. And, going off that topic, I could, especially with the way everything's going at the moment in regards to prices, we're probably all feeling the pinch in some way, shape or form. And, it's like you said, it could come down to, right, you buy every book and you've thrown 20 quid at each book, but then your DM can't make it, maybe because of any sort of commitment. Maybe they can't get petrol in their car, or maybe somebody else can't make it because of some other commitment.
Yeah, work commitment or childcare or something. There's always reasons.
Yes, I mean, and if you think it'd be one of those things that you could maybe think back on and think, well, I didn't need that book, and it could have helped out here if we did that, and you're perfectly right. And it's like you say, you play to your means and get what you need. We run one player's handbook, and it probably would be nice when I need it to just be able to go, right, I can pull my own handbook out. I don't know, I quite like it in a way now. Yeah, I go, who's got the handbook? Yeah, come on then, this way.
I think one of the first sessions, we've done a few sessions, and then there was one session where my good lady wife came home while we were playing. She caught me doing worse things, but at least it was only D&D this time. And afterwards, she wasn't playing, but she was in the room while we were playing, and afterwards we were chatting. She said one of the nice things, genuine quote, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, genuine thing that she said. One of the nice things is we had Tailspire on, we had the Hero Forge characters, and we were all looking at the screen going where we want, and we all have, we've all got the app, the D&D Beyond app, so we do like the paper and everything, but just a bit easier sometimes to track on the app. But she said the really, really nice thing was we were all passing the books around, going, I want to look at that, and we could have Googled it. You could have Googled, what does this subclass do? You could have Googled, for example, you found out what monster is, right, I'll Google things, but you can't. We're passing the book around, and there's something, after I've just said don't buy it all, there's something quite nice about having the books, isn't there? Yeah. It's that. I think maybe...
And there's something, I suppose what it is, it's nice having the books we need.
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah. When these books come out, the books we need come out, and all the rest that we don't use tend to just go with...
Yeah.
We'll be quite honest, there's a couple that we don't use, and they just go to one side.
Well, some people use them to lean on, or something when right, which is fine. It's just... Yeah, but we didn't need them, so... Arguably, that's money that we didn't need to spend. Our game and our experience at the table hasn't benefited us from us having a monster manual.
No.
But it's quite nice to have it. It's quite nice to have it. So long story short, buy what you need, don't overcommit. And if you want it all, and you can afford it all, just take it steady. There's no point you buying 15 books and not having a play group.
No.
It's a lot. D&D is a very hard game to play on your own.
1v1, me against the DM.
Right, moving on to our fourth point. I
do apologise if anyone sees me profusely rubbing my forehead.
Like mentioned, it is ridiculously hot. For a good 20 minutes this afternoon, I did consider episode 2 of nocritsg being alfresco. D&D in the garden. You've joined us by the pool.
Oh, hello, we didn't see you there.
Yeah. Jump in, the water's fine. It's nice, fucking cold, that pool. Right, number 4. So, this one and number 5 are going to be a little bit cheeky on our part. We have spoken to these people, by the way. Because while there are a lot of resources and a lot of things that you can get, there's also a very, very good and very big community out there that of people that just want to enjoy the game, just want to see people get into this hobby that we love. So in terms of resources, I want to say to you now There is a TikToker out there, a girl called LisaTTRPG, and she has gone out of her way to offer free resources for players, DMs, fans of the game. Some of this stuff we have spent the last couple of days going through it. I've spent the last couple of days printing stuff off, ready to use in our campaigns, because the attention to detail is fantastic in this stuff. And the fact, and I've written it down twice here, she's offering it for free. There's not a lot you can get in this world for free at the minute, and here she is giving quality stuff out for free. I can't say it enough. It's fantastic. There are custom player cards, NPC cards. There is a certificate for when you complete a campaign. You can go, congratulations, you completed Curse of Strahd, you completed Ice by a Peak. There are pre-generated shop cards. There are DM tools, initiative trackers, everything. Both in generated forms that you can use off the bat and templated empty stuff that you can fill your stuff in. I think it's really, really good stuff.
It's like you said, at the end of the day, we can't argue with anything that someone's willing to give you if it, for free. You don't bite the hand that feeds you.
It's stuff I'd be willing to pay for, if I'm honest with you, and it's just good. I'm going to put Lisa's link to her Patreon. It is a Patreon. It is completely voluntary to volunteer the funds up front. Everything that's on there is available without, so I encourage you to. I know I've just put over the fact that it's free, but supporting other creators and supporting people in the community is really, really important. But it's just really good stuff. And if, like we say, if you're starting out and you think, I wanted some spell cards, I wanted some weapon cards, I wanted this stuff, because it's just going to make my game so much better to be able to go, oh yeah, I've got this sword, so rather than looking at my stats, I can go, well, there it is. There is the side that people like Critical Role, Dimension 20, and that they have the cards. You can see them flicking through their spell cards, see what they've got. All that stuff, not only do you pay for it, it's very expensive. It's quite expensive. Like, Wizards are quite right to charge what they want for it, but it's very expensive for what it is. And here we have this amazing woman creating it and putting it out there for free, so that you can go on down this stuff, enhance your game, make your game more immersive, make your game more easy to play, have a good time, and not break the bank.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
No, you can't argue with it, and that's the main thing, isn't it? It's all there for free. It reverts back to our main core ethos of this. It's not something that we're going to say, right, let's plug something here for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's actually genuinely really useful, and it does fit in with. It's not going to break your bank.
And if you can save 30 or 40 quid by not spending the stuff, and that means you can get something like Tailspire, you can get that book you need, you can bring around the beers to the next game.
Yeah.
It's more than worth it. I implore you to go and check it out. I think somewhere around us, we've put some examples of what sort of stuff we can have, what sort of stuff's available. You can see more than we can. And to bounce back on that, on the last point, the last one we've got, and this is pure. This one I had to, as a sort of part-time DM myself, I had to put one in there purely for the DMs. Ready? Story time again. When we started out, I think we mentioned last week, not many of us knew what DM was, how to DM, what to DM. Coming up with compelling, interesting stories, whether it be for one episode, one campaign, an encounter, can be quite daunting, especially when you want it to be full of story and narrative and intrigue and that. Someone, I should say, that caught my eye very, very early in the world of D&D TikTok, which is where we come from, is a guy called the Plot Doctor. I will put his details down below. I'm sure he won't mind me plugging him in. He's an amazing story writer, he's an amazing creator, he's an amazing TikToker who basically, he's got loads of content out there, but his main stuff is where he will go, in 30 seconds, here's a plot hook. And he will explain it, and it's just really, really easy way to go, oh yeah, I can run that. And it's just enough to it just gives you enough information to give you a rough idea, but then there's room for you to develop your own stuff in there as well. Yeah. And I think it's fantastic. I think he's really, really, really good. Because not only does it give you, I can run that, I can do this, I can do that, it also allows you to go, actually, that's quite a nice way of thinking. I want to create a mystery, I want to create a horror story, I want to create an adventure. And watching his stuff has sort of opened my eyes and opened my mind to a way of thinking that this is storytelling. D&D is storytelling with your friends, but it's not just as easy as going, here's a story. You have to make it interactive and intriguing and I've lost all words.
No, but you're perfectly right. I know we've both sort of dipped our toe, as it were, into the realms of DMing. We've both done like an episode or a chapter of one of our own campaigns. And I know when I did mine, trying to think of how my NPCs would interact and how the characters you met would be and behave, and trying to link it all in with some sort of overarching story, but thinking, oh, they're going to find this really boring. You know,
It's always that fear, isn't it?
I know. As I just need something that's just going to come along and they're just going to go, what if we follow that little lead, and where's that going to go? And to have someone who in a very short TikTok video can go, here's an idea for you, run with it. And all you've got to do is just adapt it to the story that you're trying to tell. And you've got players then all of a sudden going, oh, but we've just met this new character and we really want to find out what the twist is, or there's something here, and there's something really nice about when you see people, even as a player, there's something nice about that.
There's one of my favourite things as a DM is when you, well, two of my favourite things from times I've DMing is when you mention a completely random street beggar who ends up being a massive part of the story because somebody won't stop talking to him, and you completely have to ad-lib on the spot because this guy didn't have a backstory 4 minutes ago, but now he's integral to the core plot of the story. Mentioning no names. And the other one being that when you... Now, I'm not sure if people, obviously, because the times I've DM'd, Joe has been in the game, but when you leave a little trail of something and it doesn't get picked up... Case in point, these guys won't know, but there was more in that magic school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, we were playing this campaign. I was down. It was literally a one-shot, 2-session one-shot, just as tide us over till the full group was there. And you guys were in this town, and there was a magic school. And they went to the door, and this guy went, "Yeah, I can't help you," and they walked away again. And it was like there was a whole magic school in there.
Went straight over our heads.
A whole mini campaign based in there. You were oh no man. Maybe we'll go back. I don't know, but it was quite. Instead, we focused 35 minutes on a beggar on a street corner who was just set design. Oh, it was brilliant. It's a good campaign.
The magic of D&D, isn't it? When it all comes together, and not even when it doesn't come together, and it all goes a little bit awry. And it's still really fun. But again, it's a fantastic resource. The Plot Doctor is a fantastic resource who is out there to help enhance people's games. To even if you're just trying to DM and you think that's something I'd really like to do, and it is hard to do. It's hard sometimes to sit there and you think to yourself, can I really entertain X amount of people? Someone who's even will sit there and on their videos just gives you that little nudge to make you think, I've got this now.
Well, maybe you've got a massive campaign, an epic tale written, an epic world written, but then you just need an encounter. You just need a 2-session plot element that you can just keep people busy with while the rest of the world goes on about its way. And you think, I just can't quite put my finger on what to do. Probably shouldn't say too much in case you go and watch all of his videos and hang on, all the Ben stuff came from the Plot Doctor. But it's really good to go. You watch it and you'll flick through and go, that's a really good one. That's a really good thing, and it just gives you enough to be able to take it and run. It's fantastic. It's really good. But make sure you check out the Plot Doctor.
And again, all you've got to do is open up TikTok and look.
It's completely free.
It's there, and
it's completely free.
You've not got to worry about. I know people that have paid for wedding icebreakers because they don't know what to say in their best man speech. So to be able to
I forgot to mention my wife in my wedding speech. So.
Just to be able to open this up, and it's all there. You're not paying anyone to do it. You're not going, here's 10 quid, give me a plot hook. Here's 5 quid, give me some.
But again, a lot of creators. I mean, we haven't done. It's something we may get to down the line. A lot of creators do have this Patreon sort of model set up. So then, if you wanted to go, you know what, this is some great stuff. Here's a few pennies. Go and treat yourself. It's there. It's really a Plot Doc on TikTok. Really, really good thing to check out.
So I'm hoping that in a roundabout way, we've got our point across. We've maybe developing a bit of an ethos and thought process that money doesn't necessarily make the games the best. You can have fun on a budget. You can spend as much as you're able to, take it, run with it, and still have a really good time.
I think the important thing is to remember with Dungeons & Dragons and any tabletop RPG is it is more important to invest your time and yourself into something than invest the money. I could have paid for Tailspire, paid for Hero Forge myself, but if the rest of the guys weren't that bothered, and my character work was a bit less, and the character of Bran was a little bit less fleshed out and a little bit less written, it would have fallen flat. Because I've got a mini that looks great, but the actual character play and the sort of mechanics of him wouldn't have worked. So our point today was to try and say, money's great, you can spend money, and if you want to, we're not saying don't, but you don't have to. And it can be just as good and even arguably better if you invest different things into the game as opposed to just your cash.
Invest yourself, invest your time.
Yeah. Remember, there's another. So I was like, my notes have run out. Oh no, there's another side. Yeah, invest yourself, invest your time, put the effort in. A good group, a good play group, and a good DM and a good group of friends will be much more eager for you to invest in the experience than investing in the monetary value of something. Yeah, and I think that's what we can take away.
Definitely.
So thank you for watching. We hope we got over. Make sure you check out Rando Crits and nocritsg given over on TikTok. We are one of us is closing on a milestone he would really like to hit. So if you're not following, please do. Thanks to LisaTTRPG and the Plot Doctor. We reached out to both to make sure they were all right with us mentioning on this. We do, and they were. So that's always good for us. So hopefully that will be beneficial to them. Tune in. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got quite a nice episode lined up next week. I'm not going to spoil too much now, but it should be a good one. So make sure you're in that. So until next week, I'll see you later.
Take it easy, guys.